series hosted by Decor Cabinets, a manufacturer of custom cabinetry in showrooms across North America. Welcome to the session, Making the Most of Slow Seasons in Kitchen Design. Today, we're joined by Jazmyn and Leigh Penner, NKBA designers who will show you how to use slower workdays with intention, focusing on the work that supports career growth and business success. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Jazmyn. I've been at Decor for almost 14 years, 10 of which I did designing at our local showroom, 239 by Decor. I am a certified kitchen and bath designer through the National Kitchen and Bath Association. And with me today is Leigh. Leigh, can you tell us about yourself?
Sure. I'm so happy to be here, Jazmyn. Thanks for inviting me to do this with you. Like Jazmyn said, my name is Leigh, and I currently work as a designer at 239 by Decor, which is Decor's showroom in Morden. And I've been there almost 10 years. And I, too, have my certified kitchen and bath designation through the NKBA. Jazmyn and I actually received those together almost the same time.
So today we're going to be talking about making the most of slow seasons in kitchen design. So how to reset, refine, and grow when projects slow down. And what that means is reframing slow seasons. Slow doesn't mean stalled. It really gives you time to step back, improve, and prepare for what's next. So today what we're going to cover is how to use that time well with improving your processes, building skills, staying creative, strengthening relationships, and cleanup and follow-up. So the first thing would be fix what slows you down. Decor really adapted, I can't remember what year it was, but we really adapted the 2-second lean mindset. It was a book that we all read here, and I found it was really, really helpful to kind of make you think about those things like what feels inefficient, what tasks feel repetitive or manual, and where projects get stuck. Leigh, can you talk about it? Because I know you did a really great job kind of diving into that 2-second lean and really adopted it. Can you kind of explain what it is and maybe how it transferred to your position?
For sure. It started with an initiative in the plant and then moved into the office. They encouraged everyone to read the book, and it just really spoke to me. I love the idea of being more efficient, how to not spend too much time on something that maybe you don't need to spend as much time on, how you can save that time and then use it more efficiently. And a couple examples we had were just even like taking a label maker and setting certain things on your desk that this is where this belongs. So I'm not taking 2 seconds, 5 seconds to be hunting for my stapler, say when I need it. It has a set place. Nothing else goes there. That's where it's going to be. And it's just going to save you a couple seconds every time you do that.
Yeah, and finding different ways to adopt it into every day. I always remember how you had your measure bag ready to go, and that really can save you time, right? Like I think you had all the things you need for a measure in a separate bag. So when it was time to go, you just picked it up and off you went.
Right.
Some other things you can do is looking at where projects get stuck, where are communication gaps happening, and what would make your day easier, kind of like that bag, right? Ready to go at a moment's notice, making sure you're everywhere on time. So really for all of you out there, ask yourself, if you're not going to read the book, if you could fix one thing in your workflow, what would it be?
And I did do a webinar called Efficiency by Design a couple of years ago. So if you want to check that out on the Academy, it has a bunch of different ideas and things that I have suggestions for.
Next, improve how you work. Build a better system. So create repeatable steps for quoting and ordering, standardize how you present design to clients. I know that was something big that changed and evolved over time with 239, right? We used to have our quotes on a PDF and we'd have all the different options as different files. And 239 created a really great system for how they presented quotes, which we'll look at on a slide, but maybe you can kind of explain how that changed, how it works for you.
Yeah, like I feel like the evolution of that was, we went from like, you'd have all these different, you'd save your PDF and then you'd have that, your different views of the kitchen, and maybe you'd be setting like 5 or 6 separate PDFs. And then I know for myself, we discovered I love PDFs, so we could merge them together. So it was one thing together, but it's still, it didn't look as professional as we felt it could look. So we ended up coming up with a new quoting system. Actually, it was Joanne, our project coordinator, who put it together in Canva and then made a template through that. So we can just easily bring our photos into that, and it doesn't take very long, and you can create a really lovely proposal.
The other thing you can do is organize your file names, folders, and project tracking. Again, you can even adapt and change how you do things. When we first started here myself at the showroom, we had all of our files saved in one spot for our design files, and all of your quoting and calculation sheets, everything was in a separate place. So you were always looking in 2 separate places. And I know when you started, we had another designer who came over here from a different dealer. So it was really neat to see how they did things. And we can change that. So you really actually started with her. She trained you. So you did things a little different. And then in turn, you trained me.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really neat way. Maybe you can kind of explain how you store your files and how that would really make things efficient for you.
Yeah. So what I do is I store everything by year, and then within that year, I have it subdivided into renovations and new builds, and then small jobs. So I just find that easier for finding things. And then within there, it's alphabetical, but everything goes into that file. So I have my client's name, and then in that file has my design files, my estimates, my calc sheets, my drawings, everything I need is all in that one spot. And as our designers at 239, we know we each have those, it's under my Leigh file. So then, I could just go under Brooklyn's file, say if I needed to go find something, with permission, of course, but it'd be easy enough to find if we all do it the same way.
Especially as sometimes projects go quiet and they come back later. It's nice and everything's in one place rather than looking in multiple different places.
Yeah, especially with different turnover and things like that, right? That maybe that designer isn't no longer available to work with that client, then it's easy enough to find.
A couple other things would be setting expectations early with clients to avoid delays, kind of maybe even creating, I know we created a bit of a kind of postcard so that clients knew what to expect when they were working on a project with us. Even having that as opposed to not having that when we started at the showroom, I found was really helpful because it really helped show the client that they could trust you, that they understood those next steps that were happening. It saves time and it makes sure that then you're constantly telling the same message. Another thing would even be creating templates for repeat tasks. Again, I know you did a couple of those on your webinar that you did. So if you want to see some of the templates that Leigh made, definitely go and check out that webinar because she did a really good job of that. But basically, the goal is fewer surprises when things get busy again. So a little quick view at Leigh's proposal that she made. Obviously, we've blurred out some names, but this I just feel looks really professional, and you can kind of explain what you all put in your proposal. I don't have everything in here, but so you always have your title page. I like that you have the date on there, so it's really easy for you to go back with your clients. I think something small but important.
Right, for sure, because often they're not just going off the first proposal you've sent either, right? They'll ask for changes. Sometimes you have 4 or 5 proposals. So if I have the date there, I can know which was the most current one. So it's on the left there is the first page or the first page of the proposal. And then the subsequent pages, I will have large drawings of the space. Usually I'll start with a larger view of the kitchen and then focus in on the different walls and individual spaces. And then I love that I can just add notes like that very easily to point out details. And so I know for this one here, just highlighted, I know she came back, she didn't really love the walnut behind the cream colored cabinet glass. And so she didn't like that. Perfect. Then I can then this way she can see it very clearly and decide if she likes it or not. So.
Right. And you put all the different options because sometimes clients, they have a couple different ideas. And what's really nice is when you open this up, when you're presenting to a client, you have one file, everything is there. And it really creates a nice polished proposal for your clients and really gives them that, that they just really feel like they trust you.
Right. Because if this one, say I had, that says kitchen too. So the first one maybe had a different colored finished interior behind the glass, or it could have been a different cabinet configuration or something like that. So when we are having those discussions, I can present it to you different options. And then also, if there's other rooms in the house as well, those follow up. So then, what I love, which you don't have a picture here, but we have a page and it's just accessories. And so it's anything that might be in the cabinets that you're not seeing. So, the pull out spice unit or, some drawer inserts or the trash. We have pictures saved that we can pull in and then just kind of add those with a little description. So when they're reading that description on the paper, then, a couple pages later, they can actually see like what that looks like. It's a photograph of what, so they can remember, oh, right, you looked at that in the showroom. I do like that. That's good. Yeah.
And then I really love, this is kind of at the back, is just kind of, again, explains who decor is. And it really helps lay out that process. Like I said, we used to have a little postcard, and maybe this is something that's changed, is in that proposal. Now your client knows, okay, this is the rest of the process and what this looks like. Really, that's clear expectations, I feel like, to your clients. And again, it's just neat and tidy and ties everything up in a beautiful presentation.
And then what's really nice is, if I need to make changes, I'm not starting from scratch. So I can pull up the other proposal and then just make the changes I need. Maybe the ensuite and the main bath, nothing's changed about it. So that's already set there, and it's just making a couple changes to the kitchen. So again, it's just a little more efficient.
Next would be investing in education. So kind of what we're talking about is learning from others in the industry. One other thing you can do is attend webinars and training sessions. There's a lot of different webinars through the NKBA. If you're a member, there's a lot of different webinars on our academy. There's a lot of different places where you can find education.
I find, especially with being a certified kitchen and bath designer, there's a certain amount of CEUs we need to complete within a 24-month period. And I often don't have time to sit through webinars, or you feel like maybe I could have it all in the background, but I'm not really fully listening because I'm trying to get something else done. During those slow seasons, it's a great time to just decide, okay. And also you can do them through the NKBA, but our academy webinars are also eligible for CEUs, which is another great. Because sometimes I find, I'll go on the National Kitchen Bath Association and there's just stuff that's not pertinent to me. Whereas I know if I go to the academy, there'll always be something there that will speak to me as a designer.
Next would be learning how other designers manage projects and clients. So it's kind of neat because you work at our Morden showroom, and then we have our other Winnipeg showroom, so you can connect with them and how they do things. Or if you're going to Academy XP or things like that, where you can connect with other designers and you can kind of talk to them. Or if you're doing any of the NKBA in-person events, if you can connect there. But really a big thing would be to ask questions, especially about challenges that you're facing.
Another great place to get involved, though, I would suggest is if you are a member of the NKBA, check out your local groups, right? Like we have a Prairies chapters and they will have meetings, and it is a great place to network, to meet other people in the industry and to learn from them.
And I even sometimes hosting your own event, right? I know 239 partnered and they did some event with, was it KitchenAid?
Oh yeah, that was just recently. Yes. Yeah, we went to a furniture store and I don't know if I can say it was Dufresne, and they had a KitchenAid event, and we actually, all the designers, we went and gave a presentation and brought different samples, and people got to make up mood boards, and we did a presentation on kind of preparing for your kitchen renovation and things to look at, and really we're able to promote, our fantastic decor cabinets through that.
I love that. And I find even just chatting with other designers can sometimes just be a little bit inspiring and kind of give you that second wind again. Then you could also expand your knowledge. So going beyond the cabinetry. So visiting countertop fabricators, appliance showrooms, plumbing suppliers. I chose a photo of a warehouse for stone because we, as Leigh and I, we got to go to a stone warehouse, and that was a really good experience because we would send people, but we didn't really know what they were experiencing. So I felt that it was really important for us to understand how our clients felt, what they were going into, again, setting those expectations by going through that yourself. Like, I love that experience.
Well, especially because I remember it was actually like 9 years ago that we did it. And it was to pick granite for our front display at the time. And we'd been sent with clear instructions, and it couldn't be more than this price level and all these things. And it was nice to go and be able to see, oh, this is how they actually do mark the price levels. So when we're sending our own clients, to be able to say, this is what you want to be looking for, this is what you want to avoid. So yeah, that was really good. I do remember going to another one too. We went to that another one in Winnipeg another time, just to kind of tour it and see what there was available from them.
And I even liked seeing the differences of them as well. So just making those connections. Another thing you could do would be to connect with your installers. So understanding installation considerations and limitations. So when you have a little bit of extra time when you're quoting, maybe connecting with your installer and seeing how it might be best to put something together, or another designer if they've maybe done something similar. And even just learning how other trades impact your designs.
A couple of our past managers like to do lessons learned. So we'd actually meet with our installers, and they were given time to kind of come up with a bit of a list, like, oh, this didn't work and this did, or if you could order this way next time, that would be more helpful. And just to learn that as a group. It's not just, because sometimes you'll hear that back that individually, but it doesn't necessarily get translated to the whole group. So if we all know this is how they prefer it be, does it make it easier for them, maybe less expensive for the client, whatever. It's all win-win then.
Yeah. Then another thing you could do would be to build your skill set. So really improve the quality of your work. So a couple things would be practicing stronger renderings and presentations. So there's a lot of different programs, like we design with 2020 or Design Flex as it's called now. And now I think there's actually even a new rendering engine. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah. And I thought when you mentioned this, I thought, yeah, that's something I just really haven't had a lot of time to do, is to try and explore kind of what I can do with that one. Like you kind of, in that way you get a little set in your ways, especially when you don't have that extra time. But if you do, if it's a bit of a slower time, and not that necessarily you've not working on anything, but maybe if you have a little more time with one project, you can try and work on those things too.
And that would be maybe the software features, but you can also learn new tools. Like you had mentioned Canva. That is something new that I didn't use at all as a kitchen designer, but that you guys have now have that wonderful project presentation. So and Canva itself has so many possibilities within it as well. So I would say not really going out of your way to find all the different software, all the different things that you can do, but maybe finding something that might be most beneficial for you that you can use. Like I would say Canva would be a good place to start if you're looking for learning a new program. And then just that would help you refine how you communicate your design ideas. And then just keep designing, creating without client pressure. So designing your own kitchen or friend and family space. I know sometimes when we would have new designers come in, we would get them to go measure their own house and design their own kitchens and just kind of play around a little bit.
Yeah, I remember I got to do that with my own kitchen, and that had been the plan that eventually, we'd renovate, and we ended up moving and sold the house. And then I think a year later, the people that bought our house sold it to someone else who came in and wanted a decor kitchen. And I was almost like, oh, well, I've got some drawings right here.
Yeah, and it's like, you can just take that time to test layouts you don't normally use or try different combinations. I know a project I got to work on here was taking some existing decor kitchens and redesigning them in Zona Vida. And even just that being creative outside of kind of my box of what I normally designed with, it was really refreshing to kind of have that time and able to learn more about what the product was because I wasn't overly familiar with it. And then being able to just look for some inspiration and find ways that I can use it. So, and with that, I had done a little bit of rendering practice and it was kind of all tied up neatly. It was just a way to kind of improve myself.
It can be such a different way to design. So it's nice to be able to take that time. That's a great idea to take something initial in the Telora line and then how could you make it, more contemporary looking to the Zona Vida.
And just like that, pushing that creativity, experimenting with new styles and products. I do think that if you're not familiar with Zona Vida, trying that out, or like I say, even if it's a contemporary space, designing in really traditional. And I just feel like there's so many different names of styles now. It's not just traditional, contemporary, modern, transitional. There's so many different names for different types of styles. So explore what those are and then see how you can apply those to some current spaces and kind of work with them. So using social media with purpose. This is a really big one. So showing your work consistently. So if you're working on maybe growing your social media presence, some people will have an overall social media presence, like 239 has their own overall one, and or sometimes designers will have their separate one. But I feel like if you're deciding to commit to social media, you need to commit to it. But if you have maybe someone who's running a social media account, maybe you can help them and get some posts ready for them. But if you're looking to grow your own, create your content in batches. So that isn't just pictures of projects. It can be some different ideas, renderings, some mood boards. I know that we've had some fun making some mood boards or at those projects there. Even just sharing some of your design thinking. I will always remember the one project that you had done. It was, I think their last name was Wall, and I'm only saying that because it was Wall or No Wall. Do you remember that one? So it was kind of neat and that we posted both of those on our 239 site.
One design where they'd said like, well, what if we keep the wall between our kitchen and dining room? They wanted to see that as an option. And then what if we take out the wall? So what would that kitchen look like?
And then that was even just interactive and got people to interact with it. But with that, then you can schedule those posts ahead to stay consistent. So it really matters to help build visibility, positions you as a designer or as a dealer, and really kind of helps keep you top of mind. Next would be finding some new opportunities. So really putting yourself out there. Reach out to other builders or contractors and developers. Introduce your services and what you specialize in. So look for active projects where you can add value.
I know 239 in Winnipeg will often invite contractors in and they'll kind of do like a lunch and learn or invite them for lunch and they'll have it catered and then, they'll tour them through the showroom and can really show them what we can offer them for their clients.
Yeah, and it might feel a little uncomfortable, but it can create that opportunity and make some different connections and maybe they give you a shot. So with that would be even to strengthen the relationships that you already have. So check in with your contractors and partners. I know sometimes we would maybe make appointments to go and meet with a contractor, maybe just bring them a coffee and chat and connect face to face, or going on site and visiting your installer and kind of see how things are going by visiting that job site or going to the other showrooms, right? Mm-hmm. But just really keeping those conversations going, even if things are slow. So really keeping those relationships strong, it can help lead to repeat work.
Well, and sometimes you'd be surprised. Like I know for myself, like one time happened to go on site and I think we were doing the measurement and the not the contractor, but the builders were there working on the new home. And we got to talking, and then they were kind of like, all of a sudden, like, maybe we should get her involved with this other project we have going because, she needs a kitchen. And I was like, for sure. And then that ended up being a sale.
Next would be following up on existing leads. So sometimes revisit past quotes that didn't move forward, kind of touch base, follow up of leads that went quiet, or checking in with past clients.
Yeah, I mean, I usually try not to wait till it gets too quiet to do that. But yeah, sometimes in the busy seasons, some of those projects do fall by the wayside because you've got other things you're working on. But yeah, it's definitely a good idea to circle back.
And even just tracking how you have those leads, right? So you can even quantify if they've gone forward, kind of put them in something dormant. But I always found it hard to delete anything just in the off chance that they come back.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
never know. Next, we would have cleaning up and reset. So organizing your space and your systems. So we kind of touched base a little bit on that with the 2-second lean, but really closing out or archiving old projects, just talking about deleting, whether maybe how you would store those, and cleaning up your desktop folders and files, right?
Right. Like I find that is one thing when I do have that downtime, because, some files have just gotten stuck in my cubbies, but I haven't necessarily revisited them, or even I do know that the project is moving forward, but I never took the time to actually remove the file and get rid of it. I do find I don't mind getting rid of the paper copies of things, and then I just usually do keep it on my desktop or on not my desktop, but my computer.
Yeah, and even, I know it sounds kind of silly, but refreshing your physical workspace, just kind of, again, giving that second wind and kind of making you feel excited or inspired to be at your workspace again. So whether that's even going through the showroom, even redecorating it, or going through and double checking for updates and discontinuations. I feel like that's really important, and just being able to, if you have the time, that you can change those out.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And then even updating or creating a portfolio. I know that is something that you did that's really neat. So I'm going to get you to tell us a bit about that portfolio that you have.
For sure. A couple of years ago at KBIS, I got to see a speaker, Jazmyn and Leigh, and she had talked about when she'd go to clients' homes that she liked to have like a folder, and in it she just had I think articles she'd ripped from people's, or just from magazines she'd gotten or whatever. And maybe it was on choosing the best countertops or, quartz versus granite or things like that. And the idea was that, then when she was actually sitting down to measure, they could be looking at something else. So, while she needed to be taking measurements, writing everything down, not necessarily having that conversation, because, we know how excited clients are when we get into their house and they just want to talk about the project and what they have in mind. And so I thought, well, what would be a great idea would maybe instead of that, I don't get a lot of print stuff, or, printing things, wouldn't necessarily know what to have, but I created a portfolio, and rather than something I'd leave behind, I made it in a nice binder with page protectors, and it's a collection of a lot of my projects that I've done, that we've photographed. And then at the back, we also have, similar to in the proposal, just different pictures of the spice insert, the dividers above the fridge, pullouts, things like that. So clients can be looking through that. They're seeing lots of different styles. And then by the time I'm done measuring, they can, I can say was there anything in there you liked or didn't like, or what are you thinking? And, they can kind of narrow down the style. I liked this kitchen, but maybe more like this. Or yeah, definitely I can flip to that back page very easily and be like, okay, you give a corner. This is what I suggest you put in that corner. I love our Super Susans. I feel like that's the best bang for your buck. That's a great idea to put in there, kind of thing. So,
and I just think in the world of scrolling, where it's just so easy to go buy things, it's sometimes really nice to have something physical in your hands. And I feel like that leaves a really good impression that, you're bringing something on site. I just feel like it really strengthens their, that they trust you. If you're bringing there, you're professional, you have things ready.
Well, and it has, even my first page is, a bit of a hello and a bit of my bio and, why, this is the work I've done. And
it just is a really well-rounded way of how you guys work on projects. I really like that. So I think it really helps because it really, overall, all of this cleanup and reset, it helps clear your mental clutter and helps you start more fresh and just makes you more efficient. So really taking time to use that time intentionally. So again, a little plug on your lovely webinar that you did. Really take that time to improve your process, build your skills, stay creative, strengthen relationships, follow up, and reset. So slow seasons don't last, but the work you do now does. So that effort you put in now really shows up later. Like, I feel like a big thing is that 2-second lean. Like, it just really saves you time. And especially now that you're so busy, hopefully it's helped using this time to build a stronger foundation. Again, making those connections with either past clients or contractors or other designers, and just using the time intentionally to improve, learn, create, and connect. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I love that I get to connect with Leigh again, and we really enjoy being able to talk to you about design. If you have any questions, please let us know and we'll do our best to answer them.
We hope you found this session helpful for your business. If you enjoyed the webinar, the Decor Cabinets Academy is a great next step for professional development. Be sure to join us for all the Kitchen Design Week webinars, which include topics on marketing, leadership, and sales.